All right, folks, before the puck drops, a big shout out to Big 8. Fellow Atlantic Canadians keeping us refreshed since 1986.
Their bottled water is straight from a natural spring in Valley, Nova Scotia. Clean and crisp.
And don't forget, 23 flavors of carbonated soft drinks made with natural sugars. Many flavors, now in cans too.
Big 8's got that East Coast charm, and you know we're all about that.
So grab a Big 8 and stay refreshed. All right, now let's get into the hockey. That's too medical.
Yep.
Too medical.
Yeah, I don't like medical words.
Very fancy. No. So, Jeremy, how's your day going?
I am having a very good week, boys.
Very good week.
Because on Wednesday, some of the boys from work wanted to go see Megadeth. So I went and saw them on Wednesday here in Moncton. And that was awesome. Second time I've seen them. And then today I found out that the Avs are going to win the Stanley Cup again. So I'm excited about that.
So, Gary Tyson, I don't know if us three just want to nod off for the next half an hour and Jeremy can just have his moment or what. But,
listen, it was nice to start the show on a positive vibe.
Well, here's the deal. We have a lot in common to talk about today. A lot of stuff kind of was going on. But yeah, I mean, I do not want to just ramble, although I could. I very much could. But yeah, I mean, the Leafs and the Avs, I thought today's trade deadline day. It was earlier today. It's done now. It seemed like one of the most boring, slowest trade deadlines in recent. And all full disclosure, I take trade deadline day off at work every year. It's a tradition I started with Tyson years ago, and I still do it. Not necessarily just because it's trade deadline, although it's a big part of it. It's just there's not a ton of holidays in the winter. It's nice to take a day off, you know, and so I do it on trade deadline. I stay home and I put coffee on. But today, I was debating putting on a movie because nothing was happening. So I don't know.
I just think you took a PTO day, and it was March break, so everybody was home in your house. Is that true? I mean, Gabe was home, right? So he
goes to daycare even during the March break. So he was there for part of that, and we did have hockey like in the afternoon. So I had to go get him early and stuff, which evidently is when all the news broke. But I don't know, boys. Where do you want to start? I know where we could obviously start, but do you want to talk about the big deal first, or do you want to maybe talk about some other things first? Because
by big deal, you mean Justin Hall going to...
Yes. Yeah, I'm talking about Nick Dowd going to... I don't even remember where he went.
Oh, we can go back to the beginning of the week on March 1st when Roman Schmidt got traded for Boris Katchouk.
Right.
Yeah.
Either of those names may as well have been future considerations. I guess like if you go kind of through the day, and we'll get to maybe who the winners and losers are here shortly, but I woke up and saw the news of John Carlson traded to Anaheim, and I was pretty shocked by that.
Me too.
Did you guys know that Washington was doing that, or did anyone have that?
Was not on my radar at all. No.
Yeah, okay. I think everyone was pretty shocked by that, including Ovi, who they talked to this morning. I don't know if you saw that clip or not. And
the Wilson clip is a rough watch.
Yeah. So I would say they weren't expecting it either. But John Carlson to Anaheim, all of a sudden Anaheim is buying. And they're looking at the Pacific, and the Pacific looks pretty wide open. And they're like, why not? And so here we have the Ducks as buyers. And, now they have Gudis, Carlson, Trouba. So, they're starting to build. They're starting to build a half decent team there.
And from there, let's fast forward 5-6 hours.
Can we stay in the Pacific for a second?
Yeah.
My nominee for the most confusing team of the trade deadline would be the LA Kings.
Preach, Gary. Preach, brother.
We're selling, sending Fogle away.
Yeah.
We're buying, bringing Lawton in. We're moving deck chairs around. We're probably not a playoff team.
Yeah.
We're going to extend Corey Perry. Just kidding. Going to trade him to Tampa Bay.
I mean,
and then
the coach situation last week kind of they would lead you to believe that they're not pushing too hard for the playoffs, or maybe they're pushing extra hard. What are the LA Kings?
Well, one kind of weird sense that I got that maybe they were going to, be going for it this year is when they got Artemi Panarin.
Yes.
Oh, that minor detail.
I'm so genuinely
part of a rebuild. He didn't want to be part of a rebuild. I don't know what you talked about for the last 5 minutes. My audio just died. So I'm going to assume
we can see you.
Fun.
Or I can see
you. I lost audio when I asked you took a vacation day when everybody was home.
Oh, wow.
I never heard a thing after that.
I don't think we would have known. You've been nodding along the whole time. Or it seemed like it.
Yeah. So cool. This is going to be a fun show, everybody.
Yeah, this will be
good. I'm just as effective as the Leafs GM. Well, let's just leave it with that.
I just wanted one of you guys to make the segue here. Okay. I just didn't want to do it.
Speaking of segue.
I need a big 8, but I actually need something harder. Do they make harder stuff than just talking?
Dave's a killer. Yeah. Dave's a killer.
So, thanks, Big 8.
So we were going to do Big 8 was the GM of the day, but maybe it's the worst GM of the day. Is that where?
I just needed a drink.
Amen, brother. Amen.
No, we were saying we are very, very, very confused. Like, I want to get to Kadri here in a second, but we're very confused over the LA Kings. Very confused.
It's like two different people are running the organization. One wants to do a rebuild, and the other hand's like, no, let's go for it. Let's
like they had a conversation. Like, Panarin basically could have went wherever he wanted.
Yeah.
So there was a conversation not that long ago where they convinced him, you should come here and be part of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then they fired their coach.
And then they fired their coach. And then they made a trade. Right? Do we want to talk about that one real quick?
Yes.
Which one was first, Fogle or Perry?
Fogle was first.
I think it was Fogle first.
I think Fogle was first.
Yep.
To Ottawa.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And like you just signed Panarin, right? And you fired your coach, and then Fogel's leaving. You're like, okay, it is a rebuild. And then Corey Perry's leaving. It's like, okay, I guess it's Avs and Tampa in the final because Corey Perry is going to have to be in the final, and he's back with Tampa. And then like I give up on trade deadline day and I leave because my wife's been waiting to go get groceries. And it's like, all right, well, let's go. Like it's been over for 45 minutes and I'm getting out of the car at Sobeys about to buy a Big 8. And I look down at my phone and I'm like, Scott Laughton is a king?
Yeah.
What?
on his expiring contract?
On his expiring contract. And got a pick. It's like he went for a rental for a team that might not make it, and you're acting like you were sellers all day. Right. So you bought like the best available player, then you fire your coach, then you sell. No, we're buying. Like I don't understand.
Well, and like Matt made the point earlier too. It's like there was news not that long ago about how Perry and the Kings were talking about an extension. It was like basically once the season's
Perry
done,
went to the Kings and said, "I want to come back." I want to come back to Tampa? Like, what did he mean by that?
So maybe they thought he said, clear, I want to go back.
Corey Perry tells LA that he'd actually like to stay. Scott Laughton tells Toronto he'd like to stay. Toronto sends Scott to LA. LA sends Corey to Tampa.
It's fine. It's fine.
Don't tell the team you want to stay with that you want to stay. It's the moral of the story. If you really want to stay. Wow.
That Scott Laughton trade came in and I laughed my head off. I was like laughing to myself.
So they came really late too. Like, I mean, I know they come in after, like, I know they queue up before 3 Eastern and stuff goes, but I think even Marchand's big trade last year was only like 20 minutes after the deadline. I was checking Trade Post an hour, like at 5 o'clock our time here, 4 o'clock Eastern. Mm-hmm. And there were still trades, like new trades coming through. I was like, what is going on? So I don't know. I don't know if it was as slow as we thought all day or whether like Central Registry was just
all backed up
until the end of the day or something.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very strange. I get a world where, and there's other trades here we'd like to talk about, but I get a world where it's now 2:45 Eastern and Brad Treliving goes, well, I'm not willing to move OEL for nothing, and I've still got Laughton sitting here.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. OEL's too hard to replace for what he makes. So it's kind of one of those things that has to be a too good to be true offer, right? But if I got one, I'd take it. But if it's not too good to be true, I'm not taking it. So I got that one. And then Scott Laughton. Here's the thing, though. He's one of those guys. He's a depth piece, and every locker room he's ever in just loves the guy. Right. And it's one of those deals where he's professed to you that he wants to come back. So you're not really worried about him not wanting to come back, but you traded him at the last possible minute for a pick.
For nothing.
It feels like nothing. Is it a 4th round pick like 2 years from now or something?
I thought it was a 3rd a couple years from now.
Okay.
A 3rd, but it might become a 2nd if they
make the playoffs. Yeah. That's the condition of the pick.
Go do your thing, Scott.
It's like, what? I don't know, man. Like,
he might be right back this summer. It might be the afternoon of July 1st. You find out he's back. Like,
and I'm okay with that. I thought he was fine for us. Seems like a guy that actually has heart.
He was not the problem in Toronto. Yeah. Scott Laughton's not the problem. OEL is not the problem.
Yep.
They're not the problem. Bobby McMahon's not really the problem.
Nope. He's just a casualty of the situation.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. So your best pick that ended up being Nick Waugh.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that so that's an interesting caveat now, because if we get into how that was affected by, I don't even know if I have this straight. So the Kadri trade came in, which to your point about like how late, like probably at 4 o'clock, I was right at the deadline. I went and we started getting ready to take Gabe to hockey practice. And we're doing all that. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, it'll probably be a couple depth things come in. So we go to hockey and I'm sitting there. And I'm just like scrolling through Blue Sky, which I use for sports stuff. And then I see a tweet or a post from Mike McCurdy of Hockey Viz. And he has a player card up saying Nazem Kadri traded to Colorado. And I was like, oh, that must be one he's doing like from the Barry trade. And for whatever reason, he's showing. And I'm like,
we're not talking about that trade anyway.
And I'm like, well, no, this is like, he's talking about him like this year. And at this point, it was like 5:10 our time. You know, so you know what I mean? Like an hour and 10
an hour
minutes
10
past.
after the
yeah.
deadline.
And I was, it took me a minute. I'm like, oh, he must like, I'm like, what got screwed up here? And then I started checking around and all of a sudden it's like reposts from Elliot Friedman. And then I was like, well, that's got to be a fake account. Like I just didn't, it was not computing that it was real. So unbelievable. I don't know. I can't remember. I've seen like usually the big deals, maybe, 15, 20 minutes at the latest after the deadline, you'll hear about them or the insiders will say like this deal's coming down the pipe or whatever. But this was kept so secret, and apparently the queue that Central Registry was dealing with had to be so huge that I think someone saw the trade in the queue and mentioned it to Elliot, who was like, Kadri's going to Colorado. And so it all kind of started to settle in, like for me, and I'm shocked. But before getting to that, so it's a conditional 2028 first round pick that went to Calgary. But
no, that went to Calgary. Oh yeah. Sorry, I apologize. I was looking at the trade backwards. Yep, conditional 2028 and conditional 2025.
Right,
27. Sorry.
Right. It's all good, buddy. But I don't fully know how this works because it's like which one takes priority. So I guess like the conditional one for Nick Waugh is the first that you guys have. It's top 10 protected. So I guess if the Avs for whatever reason finish in the top 10 of the draft order next season, that gets pushed to the following year.
No, they're two picks. A conditional 2028 first round pick and a conditional 2027 second round pick. So the conditional first round pick must be like protected, like top 5 protected or top 10 protected.
I think it's top 10, but I'm just thinking of the Nick Waugh one that you like because that's the 2027 one that the Leafs got,
which is top 10 protected.
That's also top 10 protected.
Right.
So
they have to have both. Like you can't oversell. So they must own someone else's like second round pick or whatever that.
Yeah.
As well as their own, right? So
I think it's if the Nick Waugh one is it's top 10 protected, that if they finish that low 2027, then we get their 2028 first.
Okay. So yeah, here's what's
right. Okay. That's what I didn't know. Okay.
So according to TSN, Colorado has 3 fifth round picks in 2026 because one of the picks coming back was a conditional 5th round pick.
Yes.
And they must have multiple second round picks as well that they can push it to. Maybe that's why Central Registry was so hung up. They were dealing with Colorado's picks.
Which is hilarious.
Do you actually have these many picks? Yes.
No, the hilarious stat is from the next 3 drafts. In the first 3 rounds, they have 2 draft picks, a second next season, and a 3rd round the year after that. That's it.
That's what they have left.
That's all they have. So
you better hope you win again, or
well, it's kind of like I don't know what it's like. You're standing on the glass floor in the CN Tower, right? Like,
ask us how that's like. I don't think we have a first round pick for 3 years at this point.
Well, I guess I
mean, after today, it's different, but
Well, you're going to be rooting for this whole all-in stuff from Colorado to fail, is what you're going to be rooting for.
Yeah, I follow this guy, this account, Omar on Blue Sky. He does clips from Leafs games and stats and stuff. And he posted about an hour ago, like, yeah, we sold at the trade line, and our first guaranteed pick this year still isn't until the third round. So, like, all the selling we did, the only guaranteed pick we have, the first one is in the third round. So, good job.
Yeah,
I'm torn though, because so the odds this morning when we woke up were 3% that the Toronto Maple Leafs could make the playoffs. And if you've got
that seems optimistic.
And that seems optimistic. That seems a little high. So if you've got UFA sitting there that you can get something for, anything, because you're acknowledging we're not going to make the playoffs. So if you can get anything for it, get something for it.
Yep.
And if they want to come back, we can get them back. They're UFAs July 1st. You know what I mean? So like, I'm really torn. Like even like to put poor Scott Laughton even through that feels like such a waste. If the intention really is to, because here's the thing, right up until you traded him and the papers were signed, right? You could have had conversations right up until this afternoon of what an extension would look like for you here. So now that your property is someone else, I can't talk to you. But the last conversation we had was what an extension would look like for you here.
Wink, wink, wink.
Right? So like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like be a team player with us and we'll look after you on the other end if you want to. Like, I don't know how that's going to work. Like, I got a funny feeling I could see McMahon coming back. I could see Laughton coming back. I got a funny feeling we won't see Waugh back. I don't even have a rationalization as to why I feel that way, by the way.
Well, you won't see him next year for sure because he's under contract for another year.
Well, one more year, right?
Yeah.
So I just don't think he'll ever be back. I think that's just one of those. It is what it is.
I doubt we see McMahon again either.
And I'm okay with that. If he wants 5x5, see you,
I think they gave him the number and they would have signed him if he was going to stay at that number.
I agree with you. Yep.
Yeah, probably. Like I'm torn on that one. I don't know, but then part of me is also like I like him well enough that if he pulls off getting 5 out in Seattle, it's like I'll give him the slow clap. Good for you, bud. Get paid. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
not mad at that for him at all. And a 20-goal scorer is far more easily replaceable than, do you know what I mean? Some other positions. So
I found it funny that the talk around Seattle was like, they need to go out and get the player who's going to move the needle offensively. Like
where's
Bobby
the Elias
McMahon.
Petterssons of the world or something, right? Bobby McMahon.
Bobby McMahon.
Yeah.
Bobby McMatthews.
Bobby McMahon.
Some games he was, and then other games he just disappeared.
Yeah.
And he seems never to be healthy for the playoffs the last 2 runs. So
No.
just get out of here.
No.
Yeah.
He does have that extra gear in the playoffs, but it gets canceled out by being pretty obviously hurt all the time. So something's, agreed.
Did we actually ever award the Big 8 to anybody except ourselves?
No.
I think we just said LA was terrible, didn't we? Wasn't it like the worst? The worst
we should
GM
probably
of the
give
day?
it to we should probably give it to the best GM of the day.
Do I put the music in again?
Depends if you already put it in once.
He didn't, so I don't know.
Seems like a future Jeremy problem.
Yeah,
does,
that's right. Seems like in an hour I'll figure that out.
So who, correct me if I'm wrong, who's Colorado's GM? McFarland? Is that who?
Yeah, it is Chris McFarland, which that's so funny that no one knows. People are still like, oh, Joe Sakic really pulled off. I'm like, yeah, he hasn't been GM for like 3 years.
Sure, bud. Sure.
All right, so the Big 8 player of the game is actually going to player of the week is going to a GM this week.
Yeah, here.
All right, here's to Todd McFarlane and all his figures.
Todd, eh?
You like that? Sorry, Chris. I know you listen.
It's a little known fact about Chris that he was classically trained by the Vegas Golden Knights in how to get in crazy cap situations and sign good players.
I just didn't see this one coming.
Kelly McCrimmon like takes the phone. He's like, they don't know that they changed the cap rule. They're all high-fiving each other, and then like some like staffers like, it says here that we can't go over the cap in the playoffs. And they're like, what?
You bring that up, but I heard there was the executives really figured out what the new cap retention rules were like in the last couple weeks. And like, it really put a damper on it. Like apparently these were rules that were agreed to, but not to come in until next year or the year after. And then the NHL kind of surprised them this September and said, by the way, we're going to institute them early. And the GM seemed pretty mum, but Elliot, I think it was Elliot, it might be somebody else, so I apologize if it's wrong, tweeted out like a week ago that the GMs were actually really upset about that, like because they had made their year plans and all of a sudden that changed on them. And I wonder if that affected this trade deadline in terms of activity, because looking at the trade lists from today, according to TSN, the only trade that had salary retained was the Kadri trade. Usually that's like a staple, like especially for rentals, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's almost every trade has salary retained. And this one, not that there was a lot of them, but only one. So.
Very, very interesting. I think that combined with the weird, like the high prices for stuff, like for example, that Nick Waugh trade. So Colorado traded a first round pick for their fourth line center.
Yep.
Who makes was it $3 million?
When I saw that, I thought, man, we are going to clean house. We are going to restock the cupboards. We are set. And then I think Brad got played. He waited too long. I think the idea was if it's a seller's market and the prices are all inflated, then the only leverage the buyers have is waiting to the last minute, like putting them under the pressure of time to make them fold. And I don't like how we came out. Like we did get picks. I'm glad that we didn't bring back like a veteran or like a 27-plus-year-old player, anything.
Yeah.
We got like, what, 5 picks? And only one of them is a guaranteed second round, third round, maybe? Like what is that, right? Like, anyway.
Yeah. It was, and it, you know, it wasn't like some people were even kind of not too thrilled with like what Craig Conroy was able to do as a seller too. I mean, although he did like, I think he did better with Uyghur and Kadri. You know, that's an actual, you know, decent haul for what he was able to sell. But like you said, it was just the nature of the prices. I think, everyone waited to the last minute. It kind of worked out for Colorado. I think that it did, because I like to imagine that trade came out so late after the deadline that Jim Nill was getting in his car and going home, and Bill Guerin was talking to the boys, having a drink, and then all of a sudden their phones light up that Kadri is to the Avs, and Jim Nill is like, Michael Bunting, huh? And Bill Guerin was like, Jeff Petrie for the 7th round, huh? Now, in fairness, that's not totally fair, because when you trade, like they've already got Quinn Hughes in Minnesota.
Yeah.
You know, that's just, that happened earlier in the year and you almost like forget about it. But like, it's not like they have moved the needle this season. Jim Nill, obviously, with bringing in Rantanen, and then he has to pivot a bit to deal with the news of Tyler Seguin being out for the rest of the season, possibly his career. But I did have a little laugh thinking that those guys were like getting in their cars, going home, and they get this news and they're like, oh, great. Awesome. So this kind of ties into the Leaf stuff a bit, because right before the deadline, there was all these rumors. It was like talks between Toronto and Colorado heating up around Bobby McMahon. Now, some of that was Frank Saravalli, which I don't know what to think of that guy. Like he's like I don't know what that guy's about or what he's doing, but
he is more connected than me. That's all I'm going to say.
Hard to argue that. Hard to argue that. So then like a few minutes later, it's like McMahon's been traded. And I'm like, okay, I guess we get Bobby McMahon for those 2 second rounds that we have left. And that'll be that. And then it's like, McMahon is traded to the Kraken. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? But it all kind of makes sense now, right? So like to tie into what you were talking about retention, they were saying on the Steve Dangle podcast that I don't know where they get their information, but apparently the Kadri trade was talked about, and by Craig Conroy's admission, he had talked about this with McFarland like months ago. But I don't think the ownership was willing to retain. They didn't want to retain it. So I think they nixed the deal originally. But whatever happened, it seemed to all change in the last like 10 minutes. And that's why I think it was a quick pivot where True Living was like, oh, okay, does anyone else want McMahon? And they figured that out. And then you're just like, okay. And then that deal comes in with Kadri, which, like I say, I don't know if I was more shocked at this one or the first one. I was probably more shocked.
First time with Calgary?
Yeah, the first time he was traded. Yeah, sorry. I remember where I was when they got him. And I remember thinking like, because that was when Makar was kind of arrived and he made Barry expendable. And not that you guys want to talk about Tyson Barry. But
seemed to be expendable anywhere he played.
Everywhere he played, yeah. But yeah, I was completely floored. I mean, I don't remember exactly what I said. I haven't gone back to look at it, but I basically refuted any possibility of this happening. And even now, when I look at it, it still doesn't make sense how they were able to have their cake and eat it too. With like, you go out and you spend a first round pick on Nick Waugh, and it's like, oh, okay, so that's the move. That's
short
what they're
up
doing.
The depth.
Yeah. And no one was surprised. No one was really that, it's like, oh, okay, it's overpriced. But I have been used to this whole like getting rid of picks and prospects for the last several years. Like, I'm just like, I don't care. First, whatever, pick a pick. I don't care what it is. It's going to be traded. And you just think, okay, that's it. Because you're like looking at the Avalanche picks that they have left. And it's like, that's the only one they have. Like, that's it. They don't have anything else of value to trade. So you see this news come in, and then it took forever for the once it got official, then the return comes out. And I was telling you guys and like, a few people that like it's got to be Ross Colton. It's got to be Jack Drury. Drury's a UFA next year. He's their fourth line center. They have to get rid of a center because they have a million centers now. So they got to get rid of him. They got to get rid of Colton to move the money, to make the money work. And I'm like, we talked about Kadri has term. Just like he's
a lot of term.
There's a lot of term left. And it's like, that's why I thought like, this makes no sense. They're going to be trying to extend Makar in after next season. This doesn't make sense. Like he's 34 right now. And, almost like it just doesn't, for 3C, like a third line center, none of it added up. It's all stuff that you're like, it would be awesome if it happened, but it makes no sense, and I think everyone else kind of was sharing the same mentality. And so when I finally saw the return, and it was like the only roster player was Victor Olofsson, who is $1.2 million and is a UFA this summer. And I'm looking at the picks, and they were able to get him to retain the Calgary to retain 20%. And I was just, I couldn't make sense of any of it. Now, if you look at the cap, it works. Like it.
Yeah. You guys have 637,000 this year still in cap space.
Crazy that it works. And it took a while to do the math, but you're right. I mean, there's like, there's not even an entry level deal left in cap space there projected. So, and then I'm just left with like, I'm like, so McKinnon, Nelson, Kadri, Waugh, Drury's been your third line center and has been great at it all season. We can just bump him to the wing. Ross Colton is originally a center. You've been playing him on the wing. And I'm like, the center depth is mind-boggling. It's insane. I was like struggling to figure out. They have so many. I don't know. Maybe if I'm wrong, but I've never seen a team be able to they can just move those guys. Anyone you could put Kadri on the second line on the wing, put him out there with Nelson. I haven't checked which handedness they are, but you could take any one of. What's that?
Who do you want to know?
I know McKinnon's a right shot.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kadri's a right shot. I think
Kadri's a left shot.
Is he a left? Okay, I couldn't remember. I think Nelson is a left.
Why are they not in the last name alphabetical order? Nelson is a left. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you got two lefts. I don't even know what.
Colton's a left. Jack Drury's a left as well.
And Nick Waugh.
Nick Waugh is a right shot.
Okay.
But he can also play the right wing.
Right. Which I know that's where you guys have seen him. So I guess that's a lot of lefties, but in my mind, I was thinking like, you can just put any one of those guys for a face-off in an offensive zone.
Yeah.
Yep.
And whatever side it's on, you've got a guy on his strong side every shift.
And don't got to worry about someone being thrown out either. Right?
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
face-off because you're good. Yeah.
So Kadri's 20% withholding or held back by Calgary makes his salary like $4.4 million for like the next 3 seasons.
Yes.
So with the cap going up, like it's probably going to be okay. I don't know a lot about the Avs, so I'm just going to like interview you. But like Jack Drury is like an RFA with arb rights this summer, and you mentioned he's kind of like not the odd man out, but like would that be something you would look to trade away when time comes, or like do you think he's a part of your future?
I mean, I think at this point, so I don't.
They're loaded down the middle, like you said. They've got centers playing on the wings.
That's it. Like I think he's probably gone. He's probably a guy you want to have for your future. But if you look at, I was looking on Puckpedia, they basically have this new core, whatever you want to call it, like basically locked up for almost 3 seasons.
Yep.
Makar is the one who comes up first, and Brock Nelson. And the rest of them are all signed for longer than that. But the thing is they're not 7? Young.
That's what we were missing. The core 4 wasn't a big enough number. The core 7, Jeremy. That's why you guys are winning.
The core 7. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So contractually, it's like this core for as long as like the next basically, 2-3 seasons. I mean, this is it. Like once they start aging out, so I don't think there's any play for a guy like Jack Drury for, in terms of his future, which is why I was like, he's got to be going to Calgary because that's a guy Calgary would want to have as a guy you're going to help, build around. Instead, they go for Olsen, who's going to sign wherever in a couple of months.
So these are the only rostered players that are not signed after this year on the Avs. So the only players who do not have a contract after July 1st. Jack Drury, arbitration right RFA. Mm-hmm. Joe Kiviranta, UFA. Another RFA with arb rights is Zakar
Bardakov.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's it on your forward group. 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then in your defense, you have 3 UFAs, Brent Kulak, Brent Burns, and Nick Blankenberg. So that's 6 players out of your entire roster not signed for next year.
Yes.
And they're all, the highest salary is Brent Kulak at $2.7 million. Like,
yes.
That's insane.
I know, dude. I was looking at that same thing earlier, and I was like, and I that's what's kind of crazy about it is it's a lot to give away, but they somehow have gotten all these guys with term, and they've basically said like this is it until the core is too old or we're going to start losing or whatever. Like this is it. This crazy center depth, which has a lot of room for, if you're going to underperform or whatever. I mean, there's just so much depth there. It's crazy. And like anyone that they have UFA, even that they can't sign, like let's say Kulak, Burns, you just go out and sign them in the summer. Like you can sign someone else. Like that's not the most unreplaceable thing. You don't need a super good UFA class to get that back. So yeah, I was kind of floored at actually when it all kind of clicked in of how smart this all was, because their biggest thing is this Makar extension, right? Because that's they're going to hand him a checkbook and say, write your number and we'll sign it, right? So it's whatever it's going to be. But the fact that the cap is changing, I think, is the only way that this is all possible with the cap going up as much as it is. But yeah, they've done like some work that you normally see done in the summer, done today at the deadline in the last like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I'll shut up about this after this, but to put that in perspective, the Penguins have 11 players that don't have contracts after this year, including both of their goalies. So, so they've got some work to do.
But it's live or die, right? Like the gravity of it really hit me. I'm like, this is it. Like, there's no prospects. They sent Max Curran. I'm like, I remember hearing about him some time ago. Like, they have no prospects. They have no picks. Like, if it all goes sideways, they can't even draft anybody like in the next 2 years.
They haven't used their biggest trade chip yet. The biggest one they have is you tell somebody we're willing to send you Taylor Makar. And then Calgary mutes the phone. They're like, they're willing to go one-on-one Kadri for Makar.
They finally get the Makar in Calgary. The big homecoming.
Yep.
Wasn't it Toronto? They got Jeff Finger and
yes.
Was it Burke at the time, or who was it?
Oh, yes, that's right.
Thought they were getting somebody else.
Jeff Finger. I forgot about
Unofficially, officially, they got the wrong player, a different player than they expected. They'll never admit it, but
yeah. So, saying that, I'll stop talking about this, but I'm just floored. But I have accepted that, like, the crash is gonna come, and when it comes, it is gonna hit hard. But I mean, it's fine. I mean, I've always maintained, when you have a McKinnon and you have Makar, like, I don't want picks. And they're doing exactly that. The interesting thing about this franchise is, like, the spirit of Pierre Lacroix has lived on. And I almost texted you guys to say, this is the first trade deadline, I think, ever in franchise history where they did not make a trade. I almost sent that because I think it is. I don't think they have a streak longer than anybody of making deals at the deadline, no matter how good or bad it's been. And then they roll in with this. But Lacroix was like that in the 90s when they first went there. I mean, every year it was somebody big. It was Ray Bourque. It was Rob Blake. It was Patrick Waugh. It was trading Forsberg for Lindros. Right. It was, so And Joe Sakic was there for all that, right? So I think they just...
He's a GM, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. It's the creator of Spawn.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is just in their DNA. This is what they've always done. They're always aggressive. And I don't know. I as a fan, it's a lot of fun.
So to hop on something,
are you happy now? You good?
Yes. Thank you for
Tyson,
listening to my TED Talk.
Show is yours.
Well, I'm gonna, I'm way less optimistic than Jeremy. But to hop on something, Jay, that you said. So like you would have had, I watched TSN all day today. I don't know what you guys watch, if you watch Sportsnet or if you watch TSN.
I flip between them. Yeah.
So Jeremy, with that rationale of while you have a McKinnon and while you have a Makar, you have to go all in, because if you have generational talent, you can't just, like if you're relying on picks while you have generational talent, you might be living to be mediocre all the time, right? So you're all in. Why? So Jay, with that rationale, and even though I agree with you, you would have ended up in a full-on argument with Craig Button today. Because between Craig Button and Brian Hayes, who can also be his name, this is why Toronto media, MJ, I'd be really curious to see what Matt thinks about this. So,
no, you don't.
Mike, yeah, I do. But, so Mike Johnson just made the point of, and he wasn't saying to do what I'm about to say. That's the thing. He wasn't saying do this. He was like, listen, at least they got picks. Now this summer they have options. And they almost went off on him, like, options, what do you mean? Like, they got picks for picks. And he's like, well, not necessarily. They only have 2 years left with Matthews. He's like, this is a team that realistically next year, if not the year after, could be right back in the playoffs with some of the pieces they have now, if they just add the right pieces. And the picks they got, those might be movable pieces this summer to try to get someone back now. And that's all he was saying. And it was like, here they go. No, you have to, down to the studs and all the stereotypical one-liners they added. And he was just saying, like, I'm not saying but they have to pick a lane. They're either going left or they're going right. And they only have Matthews locked down for 2 more years. That's it. So it's like in his core, and he's not a McKinnon. I will say that. I love Austin Matthews. He is not Nathan McKinnon. Can we agree on that? Right? He's not Connor McDavid. But,
as much as that pains me on the last one, I was with you with McKinnon, but
I know.
Yes, Connor McDavid is better than Austin Matthews.
Yeah. You heard it here.
My heart.
Let me check the stat sheets. Confirm. Right?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Morgan Riley's not Cale Makar either.
Are you even a fan, Gary?
But Gary, if you added the 4 + 4 on the back of the shirt, it does equal an 8. So
there you go.
Yeah. Before you go on, Matthews, McDavid. Who's got the better hardware? Just saying.
Guys, no, guys. No.
But we can't. No.
This is a conversation that hurts my heart. Tyson and Gary don't know this. Jeremy's heard some of it. If you had asked me this question 2 years ago, I would have fought you to the death that Matthews is better than McDavid.
Well, when the guy scores almost 70 goals.
Not a chance.
Yeah. But their point was, at his age and how long they've had him, if you're going to get it done with him, and he's going to be a part of that, it has to be in the next 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And you only
don't have time
him,
for prospects to come up, is what he's getting at.
And and that was his point. And you only have you only have him locked down for 2, right? So at some point, if he's your guy and he's your captain and you're going with him. Now, this is typical Toronto media, because I did get a kick out of this is why they must hate the media so much. And then I do have a point I want to get to, but they had just voted, did an impromptu quiz before this about how long do they think Matthews will stay. And one of them said, we'll be lucky. He'll be lucky to stay next year, because they might trade him with 1 year left to someone. And then someone else said, no, I think it was Dreger, said he'll stay for his 2 years, and then they'll try to extend him, and they might not. You're just risking a Marner situation. And someone else said he's the greatest Leaf scorer of all time. if he signs an extension at all, he could end up on Legends Row. Like he has records and like at some point you start to get to where you're thinking about legacy, and it's like, all right, so 3 of you were asked a question and you couldn't even agree on that. One said 1 year, one said to the end, and the other one said like
those are the 3 possibilities.
And it's like, yes. Right? And then they got all hot at MJ for bringing up like, well, maybe they want to get it done now. Like they're not, if they're keeping Matthews and they're keeping Nylander and they're keeping Tavares and they're keeping Nyes, they're like being able to pick their number 1 goaltender and adding a couple pieces away from like, you could trade, that was brought up today. Like you could later on, Stolarz or Wall, you have to make up your mind who's moving and call up Hildeby. That was talked a bit about today. But here's where I wanted to bring into where the media sucks a little bit. So they took something Elliott said today and and tweaked it so bad, like all these clips. So Elliott reported that Tree Living fielded some calls today and entertained them about Matthew Nyes.
Ooh.
And it ended up on, like, so whoever posted to Sportsnet for them, they picked a picture of Nyes as the lead-in about trade deadline day and that he was fielding. Now, listen, there's a big, we know, but this is, you know, the media takes it and run, and here's all the clickbait groups on Facebook and Instagram or whatever, and you know what I mean, with the leading lines. He said he took some calls about Nyes. He didn't say he was shopping them around.
Right.
Yeah. Would you not be dumb? Like, listen, my house isn't for sale right now, but if someone came and knocked on the front door and said, is it for sale? I'd say no. And then they'd follow up with, well, here's what we'd be offering. And then you go, huh?
No.
Still no, but it's good to know what
why
you'd
are you selling your
offer.
house? Why are you taking calls on your house?
And that's there it goes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's like, of course you're going to hear what they're willing to, because if it was something foolish, you'd have to listen. Right?
Took calls on him last year too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't know how they block out all the noise.
You're not doing your job as a GM, right? If you don't entertain
that call,
like what if someone's like, "Hey, we'll give you Makar for it." The first question should be, "Which one?" Like, are you trying to pull a fast one on me? Like, you have to take that call, right?
Can you imagine on the paperwork if you like try to just put the Taylor Makar's. Can you imagine?
Darren Drager's insider at the NHL office there just sees Makar in the paper and calls him right away. Makar's going to Toronto.
Central Registry is like going over the paperwork, and they're supposed to be like non-biased, and they're not going to like tip them off and be like, wait, you're trading like, I don't know, Austin Matthews for Taylor Makar. And it's like, does Toronto know which one they're getting? Like,
yeah. And there's some like intern who brings it up, and the boss is like, "Don't just do your job and push it through."
Do it. They want 1 for 1. It's 1 for 1. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do your job.
Bob McKenzie's the trade is 1 for 1. Taylor.
Oh man. But you're right though, Tyson. This place will be a circus if the Leafs do not re-sign Matthews the first day he's eligible to be re-signed. You know what I mean? Like the year before his contract expires. Because after going through it with Marner, dragging his feet and eventually wanting out and knowing for a while before, man, if they go into that last season without a contract, it'll be a circus.
But like, do you not find, and I don't want to go off on a big tangent about this, but like the media makes it a circus up there.
Yes.
It's a wonder anyone wants to play there.
Yep.
Like it's really
it's probably why the players are held back to the media. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we've talked about this on previous pods, so I'm not going to rehash it. But like Matthews is a little prickly with the media. But when he first came into the league, he wasn't as prickly. And then things happened to him and he got burned. And now he's prickly. But if you see him in behind the scenes things, or you see him like with his Team USA people at the Olympics, like huge smiles on his face, like running around the Olympic Village, like he's the king of the world, like super happy. And then he gets back to Toronto. It's like, we didn't really play well today. We gave 110%. And we'll get better at it next time.
I think he's just like, this is the only thing I can give you that doesn't negatively affect my life. Right. Like, this is the only thing I can do is seem underinterested, because that seems to be the lowest form of negative feedback for me.
Right. And I've got some stories about that, but I don't want to derail this pod, but ask me sometime about player availability and like how the PR staff for the teams do it and how the Leafs are different than a lot of teams. I listened to a Leafs podcast, and they deep dove into like their requests to get interviews from players, and just the struggles they've had. That's all I'm going to say. And I can go into it on another hockey pod if you guys want. You can ask me about it. But it was really fascinating how, like, if you go to Pittsburgh and ask for a player rep to come on a show, they'll offer somebody up. But Toronto is absolutely, they do not do that. Their players never speak outside of designated media times. Anyway,
but I don't blame them.
Topic for another time.
Yeah,
I don't blame them. So, like, in the last couple of weeks, just for,
I do,
and
go ahead.
I know, but like we'll go. I know, but it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Is that
sure.
the?
Yep.
But like what Austin Matthews has gone through just in the last few weeks, we get confirmation from Elliot Friedman that Matthews and his people spoke to the Leafs, and that they end up kind of like as a seller. Is Matthews okay with that? Because we can't officially talk new contract yet, and he says, "Yes, I am. Like I'm fine. Like I'm staying here." Then all of a sudden, after the Olympic break, it's like he wants out. He's leaving. If they don't win,
what
he's going.
indication
And it's
did
like,
he ever give for that? Yeah.
like, did we not just have a report 2 weeks ago? And it's so rare to get anything out of him. And he said, "I want to stay here. Don't worry about like if we end up in that shape. I'm not. That's not a ticket for me to get out of town if we end up in trouble. Like right? Like we just got so. Other than him saying it. What else would you want for him to confirm that that's not the case? Because he literally said, "I'm staying." Right.
Even if he says it, nobody will believe him. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what's he supposed to say, right? Is what the excuse will be. It's like, well,
I know.
You can't win. You can't
win. But
he
didn't say that to the media. He said it to office, and we weren't supposed to know, right? And I don't know. I could go on for days, but I am very curious about. Next time, I want to ask you about that.
Yeah.
I really want to know.
Absolutely.
That.
I thought it was fascinating. So yeah, we could talk about it later. But it was a quiet deadline. Who was your most surprising non-move? Like we went over the trade bait last week.
My honest. I thought Montreal would have a new goaltender today.
Yeah,
man, they almost had Kadri today. Did you see that?
Today.
That was the rumor. Like it was like late this morning, mid-morning or something like that. That was like they were talking with Calgary and about Kadri, and it was possible, and the talks were advancing.
I've heard that one multiple times over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then this morning I thought it had a real chance, and then it just kind of went away. And then I watched all day and nobody was talking about it. So I just thought, did that die? Or are you leaving that alone because either Binnington or Bobrovsky, I don't know who you'd rather, are becoming available, and it's a possible third option. Skinner is out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he's gone to the finals.
Yes.
Like if you need like desperation mode, we're getting like a rental goalie, and then they didn't get anybody.
And I was expecting it to be Binnington, honestly. Like
that was my first choice for there. That's what I thought was going to happen.
It would have been wild. Binnington and Montreal market would have been a great time.
That would be like playing
us.
in the Olympics every game. You know what I mean? Like he rises to the occasion. That building
100%.
is pumping. Like credit where credit is due. Their fans are loud.
I'm
100%.
jealous over it, actually. I am. Yeah.
And my thought was, I thought he would do really well there because he seems to need to have pressure on him to play as well as he does. So I was pretty surprised with Montreal. Same reason, but at the same time with them, like they are like, they're one of the most enviable teams. They have a good young core.
Mm-hmm.
They could have done a lot, but the fact that they didn't, I don't think is bad because I think they still have a ton of picks. I think they should take this core. They've got their contracts done. They've got this core. I think take them to the playoffs for another season and just let them figure it out
experience.
Again. Yeah,
they do have the goalie in the system. He's just a year or two away from being ready to come up.
Yes.
Right. And they're hoping for Dobish and right. So like
I'm sure they had conversations today I'd be very curious as to what the return ask would have been as to why they didn't entertain it any further. I wonder what was being asked of them.
Right. And number one, I thought it probably would have been Line A, like going somewhere.
Ship it. Like,
yep.
Yeah, I just assumed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was surprising.
I was going to say, speaking of Binnington, if we look at St. Louis for a minute, when did it become such a thing for like it to get reported? This trade is a done deal. We're just waiting on the player to say it's okay.
Did you see?
So awkward, man.
Elliot talking about that today?
No, I didn't.
He talked about it a little bit and said that he got like a good amount of heat for that.
I bet
Elliot did.
Just so everybody knows, we're talking about Parayko. So
he had a trade in place to go to the Sabres, and then he didn't waive, but it was reported to be a done deal.
So even when the Sabres are winning, players still don't want to go there.
Man, I mean,
it would have been a lot worse had he actually agreed to a trade to go somewhere else. But
yeah, that's true. But like, well, that's the thing. This is uncharted territory for the Sabres.
Yeah, that was weird
to be involved in this. And I'm sure even for Parayko, it's like, how would you feel about being the first high-profile trade to Buffalo? That's not a player leaving them, which they've done a lot of that.
And a lot of high-profile trades.
Yeah, a lot of high-profile selling.
So I saw Dreger and LeBron talking about this today, and not only did they not like it, but it had them being extra careful about a couple of things that they were hearing, because they said, what a weird world where like you have played so well in your career that you've earned the right to ask for a no movement clause in your contract, right? And so you've earned that, you've gotten it, and usually that's like some sort of veteran status, right? There's some level of respect there that, this guy's got a no trade clause. And then suddenly, even though you've earned that no trade clause, you can somehow be the bad guy in a story for using the thing you've earned that's built into your contract.
That you negotiated for, that everyone agreed upon.
Yeah. That's not new. Look at Matt Sundin. Look at Dion Phaneuf. They all vetoed trades.
Yes, of course they have.
Look at Panarin just this year. Like, he only would waive to go to the Kings, which puts the Rangers in an awful spot.
I think the only difference is we're talking about it with more players now because they're a lot more commonplace. Like, you're right. It's not a new. Yeah,
no,
it's not a, like you said, it's not a new discussion, but it's just that with any player who seems to be anybody, they either have the full no move or the 10 team or the 15 team no trade or whatever. And that's been like something that some GMs have been vocally, obviously, critical about, that we've kind of allowed that. It used to be like reserved for the elite of the elite.
Right.
And now it's just, now there's a lot of players who negotiated. So we talk about it a lot more now.
Now, as a person, I understand it. Like, it's, I've moved to this city. I have a family. I have kids in the school system. I'd really rather not move. And in some cases, like in the Trocheck case, right? Like if all my family, all of them are on the East Coast, I'd really rather not be on the West Coast. I have family. Like, it has nothing to do with that hockey club and me not being willing to play there. It has everything to do with the geography of my life. So... Like, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the honesty, right? Like, wasn't it one of his kids said, like, he's not being traded, or he's being traded. We're not being traded.
Yeah. I have a hockey team. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
What a great. Yeah. It's more like prevalent for sure. Even like thinking about Ryan O'Reilly, we all thought he doesn't have trade protection, but he has like an honorary trade protection that Barry Trotz gave him, right? Like as a, as like a,
we'll run it by you every time. Yeah.
So, but yeah.
All right. So Tyson, your surprise was the Habs didn't get a goalie. Adding on to that, I'm surprised the Sens didn't get a goalie. They have the worst save percentage in the league and they're knocking on the door. So like, seemed like an upgrade. Jeremy, what's your biggest surprise of a player sitting behind or team not doing anything?
Yeah, I thought I thought Edmonton was going to do more. Edmonton's a weird one. They did a lot. I mean, and if the team plays well, we won't question it, but like they added a lot of like depth pieces. But it was not like maybe, I don't know, maybe Stan Bowman is playing 4D chess and we're playing checkers, but like, you know, Colton Dock, cheapers.
Jason Dickinson.
Dickinson. And the defenseman there,
Connor Murphy.
Thank you. Cheapers. You know, I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, I'm just weighing all this against McDavid's huge discount he took, the short amount of time that's left. You need a goalie. None of those guys play goalie in a year where we talked about Binnington and Sergei Bobrovsky possibly
and maybe Wallstead as well. Like that was floated as available.
Yeah. Minnesota was like, well, we don't know if we need. Yeah. And as rare as it is to get goalies, I said my brother-in-law is a huge Oilers fan. And when they signed Louis Domingue, I'm like, Florida signed Louis Domingue. I'm like, oh man, this is Bobrovsky to Edmonton, isn't it? Like this has got to be what that is.
Yeah.
I thought that's what it meant. When you sent that to us, I was like, oh, here we go.
Right? Yep. Like, what else would that be? I'm like, they're going to figure out the cap.
In my mind, he's going to Edmonton or Montreal. The second that happened, I was like, he's going to one of those two teams. Right. I'm going to hear tomorrow.
Exactly. And then the other team was going to go after Binnington or in some order. That's what I thought was going to happen. And it didn't happen. And like, yeah, maybe their team is slightly better. Still got Jarry and net. And Draisaitl's comment about, you know, scoring 5-6 goals a night's pretty tough. Well, good luck, buddy. Have fun with that.
I mean, the Oilers of the 80s scored 5 or 6 goals a game. And
that's true.
Grant Fuhr let in 4 goals a game. And they won.
I did hear...
you stop the ones that you need to stop.
They'll outscore every team. We just need a couple saves.
So Marty Biron and Jamie McLennan were talking about the Oilers a bit today, and they were saying... they feel bad for any goaltender coming into that system because he said there's a difference between shots and quality shots. And they felt like it wouldn't matter. They went out and got Jarry and he got hurt pretty quick, but you left him out high and dry too. Like all of a sudden he's playing worse than he did in Pittsburgh.
First game, he got lit up.
Like it's, and he said, you're allowing for, he said, any goalie, he said like that system in front of whoever they have needs to change. And change quickly, or they're not going to, because Draisaitl's right. In other words, like, we're only winning every once in a while because we scored 6, but we let in 5. Like, we can't maintain the pace, right?
And if all of your goalies that come in there have the same problem,
it's not the goalie's problem.
Like, yeah, I know it's hard to get elite goalies, absolutely, but like, they seem to struggle with the same, like, wild inconsistencies. So,
well, Matt just told us that Pittsburgh has a free agent goalie coming up in the summer, so maybe they'll look at him.
Maybe. They can also re-sign Connor Ingram, who's available this summer as well, who plays for them.
Imagine?
Could you imagine Jarry and Stuart Skinner back together in Edmonton? The 1-2 punch?
1A, 1B.
No, the 2A, 2B. There's no 1.
I gotta watch. I'm watching the recording time here, but I'd like to hear Gary's biggest surprise of the day. But I think we'd be remiss after that to not talk about Mr. Malkin. So,
how many games is he going to get?
I don't know. That's what I want your opinion
first,
on.
Though.
Yeah, you first.
Who surprised me today? I'm going to go with a good surprise, San Jose. I was kind of expecting them to try to pull something off, similar to what we said about Montreal. And I kind of like that they're just going to keep this going natural. Very similar to Montreal.
Yeah, it is actually.
I think that's like a future Stanley Cup matchup, maybe San Jose, Montreal.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I love it, actually. That'd be awesome.
Makes sense.
I'd be a huge Sharks fan in that series.
You're right. they're very similar. I mean, Montreal's done it more by committee, and now San Jose has some good young player, but they have the superstar in Celebrini.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, very similar. But yeah, very tempting, I'm sure, for those teams to want to load up. But like as we know,
hold on, I got to interrupt. Nobody look up Malkin's suspension history or anything because 1 minute ago it was revealed what he got. So I have looked. So I'm not going to participate in that conversation. So nobody else look because I'd like to hear your actual thoughts on it. Hey, carry on, Jeremy. I just wanted to give you a warning.
That's fantastic. All I was going to say was those young teams, like they should do their work July 1st draft. Like don't get sucked into the trade deadline where we know most of the time it doesn't even do anything. All right, so
Malkin. So I will lead this conversation because I know the answer now.
Yeah.
So for those of you maybe not have seen, last night Evgeni Malkin in Pittsburgh got into a bit of a scuffle with Rasmus Dahlin of the Sabres and ended up taking a two-handed chop across Dahlin's face.
Marty McSorley.
Marty McSorley. The only difference was he was facing him instead of
yes.
He was given a 5 and a game for obvious reasons. It was like it was not one that you like disguised as something else. It was literally a two-handed chop to the side of the head neck.
I like how he immediately grabs him to fight too.
Yeah.
And Dahlin is like, you just chopped my collarbone in half.
Yeah.
I'll hide it by punching you in the face.
Dude, are you serious? And you can see Malkin like, oh, okay.
So he's obviously going to get suspended for it.
Yeah, have to.
Not to bury the lead. He obviously had a hearing for it. Given the history, so Malkin was suspended for 4 games in April of 2022 for cross-checking a Predators defenseman. He was suspended in 2019 for a stick swinging incident against Michael Raffle, of the Flyers. And he's been fined many times for high sticking and stick related offenses.
Oh.
So he is a repeat offender under the definition of the CBA. I'd love to hear what you guys think he got. This news broke 2 minutes ago. So
was Dahlin hurt? Like, is he injured? Because I feel like that matters.
I think he played.
So
I don't think he left.
To play.
Yeah.
So based on that, my guess is 10 games.
10 games?
Yeah.
I do not believe he was offered an in-person hearing, so I don't think it can be above 6.
Oh, I thought he was going to have an in-person hearing.
Let me find out here.
You might have assumed, but
that usually takes an extra day or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they turned this around pretty quick, right? So
my wife read that to me today, that he's going to have a hearing. And I didn't read it for myself. She read it to me.
I'm just trying to look right so I can.
Are we allowed to
Either way,
look?
Tyson's guess
are we
is 10
allowed
games.
to look up George Peros's history with Pittsburgh?
I'll go next. I mean, I am terrible at this. The disciplinary stuff is my least knowledgeable. To be
fair, man, it's unpredictable.
Yeah, like I feel like it's just stuff that's out of my control. It's all crazy. I feel like it's goalie interference. I'm going to say he got a $5,000 fine. I'm not even being funny.
He doesn't play for the Panthers, my guy. He plays for the Penguins.
Oh, man.
That's my legitimate guess. $5,000 fine.
Okay. He is not hurt, by the way. Dahlin was not hurt. Malkin, just to clarify, he was given a match penalty for high sticking because there is no major for high sticking. It's either a 2, a 4, right. Or a match penalty.
Right.
That's how you get the game, which means an automatic 1 game. So I don't know if you want to adjust your answer.
I'm trying to think of comparables. We got the David Perron. We got the Morgan Riley.
Is that really a comparable?
It shouldn't be, but you know what I mean.
I'm going to put it at the 3 game.
Okay.
I legitimately think after the match penalty, just find him.
Fine, because they can do that. They can, if it's not a proper match, they can rescind it and whatever.
Well, exactly. And I'm all over the place because there's like 10 games is what I think a lad should get for that. And then there's what my head says that he got partially because he's also Malkin.
If he was injured.
Yeah. That's what, knowing that Dahlin was fine, that's where it's coming from for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I could easily cut my guess in half. You know what I mean? I guess, but in my head, you literally chop somebody like you're trying to split wood. You should probably get 10 games, but
I won't be surprised.
Suspended before, but I guarantee you he didn't. Yeah,
it must be something with Dahlin because he's the same player Austin Matthews cross-checked across the neck and got 2 games for a few years ago. Anyway,
I remember that.
And it was right in front of the net, so I don't know if Dahlin trash talks in front of the net or what. Anyway, Tyson, if you were to cut your original guess in half, you would have been bang on. He was given 5 games.
5 games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why does that sound like a lot to me? But also for what it was, it makes sense. But I think
it's because he's a repeat offender of stick offenses. Like he literally got a 4-game suspension for high sticking 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Like he clearly can't control his stick when he's angry.
But like this was quite the like his instinct, like that was instinct. His reaction was he swung that thing in a downward motion. You know what I mean? From above a player's head. That's pretty wild. Wow.
5 games. Wow.
And just when Crosby's out and Pittsburgh's on the cusp, go take a selfish penalty and get kicked out for 5 games.
Unreal.
Huh.
Wow.
So in the playoffs, that would have been 2 games?
That would have been the $5,000 fine. You were just, off your calculation.
Yeah, that's the Brian Burke rule, isn't it?
And he didn't even draw blood, so why are you even getting a major for that?
Honestly, like you might think, but like he wasn't injured and he was fine. That's why I thought it could be anything. And I mean, repeat history or not, I feel like that's mattered for some guys. Doesn't seem to matter for others. Like I just don't know how to weigh the stuff. I don't understand.
It only comes into. Sorry, Gary, go ahead.
Say Tyson's 10 games sounded right. Jeremy's $5,000 fine sounded right.
And I think that's crazy. That's the problem with the league.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, how do people bet on this league when it's just like subjective everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, the repeat offender stuff only comes into determining the length of the penalty. Like, it doesn't come into play determining what the penalty should be, if any. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's a fine, nothing, or a suspension, the person's history has no bearing on that. Elliot said that a few times. It's only once they've decided to suspend them, then it gets factored in.
Okay.
Because that makes sense. I always cross-check people in the face, and then this time it wasn't as bad, so they're just going to fine me. Sure.
I really struggle with the Department of Player Safety, and even just like stuff like goaltender interference in general. I just don't put much thought into it because I just don't know what any of it is.
No idea.
Yes, there's rules. It's just I don't know. They seem to get broken down into like subatomic particles to decide the stuff that I don't get it. So I just don't think about it. I struggle with it.
It's just funny because Gary hit the nail on the head, and then Matt said, like, isn't it funny? Like, how does a 10-game suspension for what he did and a $5,000 fine both seem plausible in this league? And as Matt referred to Jeremy, before it even got to Gary, I'm sitting there listening to Jeremy. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to be 5 games, isn't it? Like I should have cut mine in half.
I thought it was going to be 1 because of the match penalty and that there was no injury. That was my guess before I read the news, was he's going to get a game and that'll be that.
So that probably, so do you think then if like he didn't have a prior history with that stuff, that's what it would have been? Even despite, like, do you think like someone
given that number, I would have assumed it would be like a 2-gamer then, and then 2-gamer, previous history made it 5. I don't know. No one knows. Like, like in their breakdown, they should say this is like a base level, like a cross check to the neck, high stick to the face,
don't know, man.
Like with a chopping. It's like this is a base 2 games, and then every game a new game for every history event.
If you want to go back a couple years. Sam Bennett could have been up on manslaughter charges for what he did to Michael Bunting. And he got a fine.
Yep.
Far more vicious than the 5-game suspension that we're talking about right now.
Yep.
Way
this
more
is
vicious.
Likely what it should be in reality,
fine.
but we've been trained on what it has been.
Unreal.
Do you remember when I forget who broke Brendan Gallagher's jaw with like a high stick or something off a face-off? Maybe it was Chara. Yeah, it was Chara. Cross-checked him and broke his jaw in like the playoffs, and he didn't even get a fine for it. It's like,
was that in the bubble or something? Or
might have been. Yeah.
I think.
Like,
I think
I don't like the Habs, but you look at that play and you're like, how is that a thing? Like,
Yeah,
anyway,
it's strange.
We're off the rails now. This is supposed to be trade reactions. Can we trade George Parros for anybody else?
Yeah, that's another. I know, Matt. You have a lot of thoughts on him too. I mean, we could probably die.
I don't have any thoughts. That person you had on a few episodes ago, he was just some irate Leafs fan. Certainly wasn't me.
Different guy.
Different guy. I love George Parros. He is the greatest Department of Player Safety person ever. He always treats my Leafs very fairly.
Doesn't have a lot of thoughts. He has one very specific thought.
True. Yeah, true.
I find other fans that comment on some of our stuff so funny. Like, we had one video that did really, really well, but it had like the most shares of any of our videos, by the way. But all it was Matt saying, so for the first time in NHL history, George Parros gave a fine for an off-ice infraction.
Oh, no.
That's all, but that's all it was. It was very factual. And like we said, like you said in the video, like ESPN ran a story on this today.
The ESPN article, I saw that. Yeah.
Like an ESPN ran it today and all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And it just happens to be against the Leafs, but this is the first time they've ever done it. Here comes all the comments. Bunch of crybaby Leafs fans. Can't blah, 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 blah. We're not, it's a fine. I don't care if any of the $1 million players get fined.
You can't do that. Who cares?
You can't do that. He gets a fine. But it was like, why does pointing out something factual still make you a crybaby Leafs fan? This is the first time this has ever happened. Like, we're not lying. Yeah, it's just everybody on the bandwagon.
If
we're not lying about that. I can't say anything else, though.
If I can't justify Department of Player Safety, I certainly cannot justify the internet.
No,
that's fair. That's fair.
Wild.
Yeah. So, yeah. Good times.
All right, guys. Well, what a day.
What a day. So will you take next year trade deadline off, Jeremy, after this boring event?
Yeah, well, they don't need to make any trades. If everybody under contract and there's no picks to trade, so I probably still will take it off as tradition. But
honestly, the winners were all the people that traded beforehand. Rasmus Anderson, Quinn Hughes, like going way back there. Like, the big things dropped weeks before.
Yeah. Yes.
And they won the
now. Liljegren's is in Washington back with Sandin.
That's true. Reunited, and it feels so
reunited.
Good.
Oh, Sandin is there, right?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
They were the Marlies 1-2 combo and never made it in the Leafs.
No.
I liked Rasmus Sandin.
I did too. I thought he had more upside than he got. I was too. Yeah, I agree.
Liljegren, I could care less. Get at the door.
I liked him. He just wasn't performing the way he should have been performing.
Didn't they have like incredible analytics as a third pair in Toronto? It was like,
for the Marlies, they were like the bee's knees.
Oh yeah, they were insane for the Marlies together.
Yeah. Not when they were they not the third
they never
pair?
Really. They were, but they didn't perform like they should have, so they got broken up a lot, and then they didn't really play as a group until there was roster issues. And Liljegren, like, I don't know, he just, I don't know if he couldn't do the pressure or what, but he was really nervous with the puck, it seemed. But Sandin was always what he was supposed to be, in my opinion. But I was sad to see him go.
Yeah, me too. Same.
Do another pod on Sandin and Liljegren when they were in Toronto. Let's do a pod on that.
I'm sorry, this pod is going really long, but I remember this one play. I think it was in the playoffs where
no one's listening anymore anyway.
Liljegren was like coming up the neutral ice with the puck, and he tripped and fell, like toe picked, and then got a tripping penalty for falling into like another player, and then scoring on that power play. And I was just like, well, that sums up your time here, bud. Like an incidental fall, and you take out another player. You had the puck, and you get called for tripping. I was like, well, all right.
Tripping means you can't fall down.
I took my boys. Me and Amanda went up, took the boys to their first NHL game in Toronto. Liljegren scored our only goal, and we lost 2-1 as Bunting scored against us. So
nice. I heard that story on the pod. Going down and
but Bunting did throw my young lad a puck, so I'll take it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
By the way,
are you gonna buy him another jersey?
No Stars jersey.
Maddox has 3 Bunting jerseys.
You can't. That's it. It's got to stop there.
Likely the biggest collection of Bunting cards I can imagine that anybody would have, because why would they collect Bunting? And then he's got at least a signed picture and or puck from every team he's played on now. You know what I mean? Like
So that's super cool. Like we chuckle about like all the cards because like nobody wants Bunting cards, but that's super cool with the pucks and the jerseys. That's really cool.
His last picture. Die, man. So after they announced the trade, I know a guy in Toronto that deals with privately autographs all the time, like has his own thing. And it was like moving day, and he caught him. And so Maddox got a picture, like, to Maddox, my number one fan. Thanks for everything. Michael Bunting wrote on a picture. That's for super him. Cool. Like it was a good, nice guy move by Bunting before he left. Yeah, for sure. But
Jeremy, you make fun, but how many Rantanen jerseys do you have? I know there's none in your background, but in your other room, how many?
He's wearing one.
Yeah, so you can't cast stones here, buddy.
Touche.
And on that note, thanks for listening, everybody. Cheers to Big 8. Keep your stick on the ice.
I'll stop it this time so it's not awkward.
All right.